Welcome back to the third episode of Fit for Finance with the
Triple D's.
Today we are going to talk about the stocks throughout our companies, the three companies again, Lululemon, Under Armour, as well as Nike. So we're going to talk about the different characteristics of our companies throughout the stocks. So first we'll start with beta. What beta is, pretty much it's a measure of systematic risk. It's like the risk of an investment, kind of pretty much how much risk you're taking on. If you guys want to start?
I'll start. Lululemon's beta is sitting at 1.02. It just means that Lulu's stock moves exactly with the overall market, but it's just a tiny bit more volatile. They carry a market level risks.
Nike's a little bit higher at 1.29, and where is Under Armour at?
So we are the highest. That means we're taking on the most risk. We are at 1.83. So we are very volatile. We're taking on lots of risk. This is mainly because they're trying to get all their return back and just make as much money as they can, so to speak, with how the way their company is moving towards a downward spiral.
We can move on to dividends now. So here, Lululemon, new company, they really aren't paying any dividends, up and coming. So for me, for the dividends and the payout ratio, I'm going to sit this one out because Lululemon doesn't really have anything to apport to the conversation.
Ours is $1.60 per share, and that means pretty much shareholders, they get $1.60 in dividends over the next year. So what's Under Armour at?
So Under Armour actually does not pay dividends because their financial priorities.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Also, so if we can just jump to the payout ratio, I can just go ahead and start again. They're currently at 0, but they also, we're negative, so that means we're having a negative net income. So that's why either sometimes it doesn't show up or it's just at 0 because it's just downhill and they're not making much. Their income's not.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Where's Lululemon at?
Lululemon's actually at 0. I don't have anything to say here.
Nike's at 82%, which is obviously a lot higher than you guys, but that also means a higher payout ratio. Like this suggests Nike is heavily committed to returning cash to shareholders.
And it makes sense too, with how big your guys' company is.
So now moving on to market cap. So we are doing 4 different quarters, and 3 of the quarters are from 2025, and the other quarters, the fourth quarter of 2024. So in 2024, they had a market cap of 36.39 billion. It moves on, and they increased to 50.44 billion, and then we see a slight decrease, actually a pretty dramatic decrease, of 32.53 billion in the second quarter of 2025, and then the third quarter of 2025 was 24.03 billion, just pretty big decrease.
I think overall, though, in the late run, you guys won't have.
No, and they're still considered a large cap company, which
still
they're
young companies.
and they're financially stable. They're widely recognized, and generally they're less risky than other companies.
Yeah, I'm just looking at mine here for Under Armour. So in 2024, we're at 3.74, which is honestly way lower than Lululemon.
Look at this one right here. We're talking about this.
Sorry, so 3.39 billion.
Yes,
Still in 2024, which is a good at the time, and we dropped to currently today, or as in the last quarter, 2.1. So we dropped 1.6 billion dollars over the past year.
Can I point something out? Compared to Lululemon, y'all's market cap is very low.
Yeah.
Y'all have been in the game for a while. Yeah, Lululemon is up and coming, and they have them beat by
a lot.
What, 20 to 30 billion in market cap?
If I can jump in here, this is really where you see how big Nike really is. Their market cap ranged from 89 billion to where it is now at 117 billion. So I know Lulu's growing and all, but
it just shows how we're still up and coming, and we gotta compete with the big dogs. Lulu's is from 24 billion to 50 billion. That's the range. Exactly, that's the range we're sitting at.
Really shows how
what
big
shocked
Nike
me really
is.
was Under Armour here.
Yeah.
Under Armour really shocked me.
Shows they're not doing too well.
I guess we could move on to the P&E,
trailing P&E.
the trailing P&E. So Lululemon's trailing P&E ratio over the last 4 quarters shows a big upward spike and then a decline. So in what was that? The second quarter of 2024, 23.04. The last quarter of 2024, 23.04. Then in 2025, we see an increase of 29.95, and then the next 2 quarters is a decrease to 18.15, and then ending at 13.64.
Yeah, so for I'm okay.
No,
so
go
Under
ahead.
Armour now, we actually we didn't really have anything. It was kind of blank. Couldn't find anything. But one reason this probably was is just because it was negative. You know. And then
Your
they-
company is full of surprises, man.
Yeah. So
Full of
I mean,
surprises.
but I mean that's as expected. You know, with these new companies. Not saying Under Armour is going to go under, but like these new companies are taking over
We're taking
the
over,
athletic
we really
wear
are.
business.
And I mean, we're gonna touch into that. I have a couple things to say about up and coming companies that are competing with Lulu
yeah,
that factor into that.
exactly.
I also want to mention that Lulu is a little volatile when it comes to the P&E ratio.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jumping in here, Nike ranges from 20 to about 36. There was a jump in quarter three that suggests stock became more expensive relative to earnings. But
Okay.
Nike's pretty much, I mean, it kind of just bounces around. There's no steady growth, no
I
steady.
mean, in this
decline.
case, Nike's a lot more stable than
Yeah,
Lululemon,
very stable.
and way
Yeah.
more stable than Under
Yeah.
Armour.
Yeah.
So now the price to book. I'll start this off again. So Lululemon's price to book ratio shows a very high investor confidence, especially compared to Nike and Under Armour's.
Yeah.
It peaked at 12.66, meaning that investors were paying 12 times over the company's book value at one point.
Mhm.
We see at the quarter we started at 9.03. The peak was in first quarter of 2025, 12.66, and then we see a decline, 7.84, and then the most recent one 5.60.
Yeah. So Under Armour, they were actually at 1.61 the last quarter
Wow.
of 2024, and currently today it is under one. It's at
Not-
0.93.
Not great to be at
So,
Under Armour.
I mean,
So,
we can just the more and more we go into detail,
You know-
you can just see how.
You know what I really like
It's
about our
right
three
there.
companies? I just want to state this out. I think we've stated this in the last previous episodes.
Yeah.
We have complete different spectrums
Yeah.
when it comes to our three
But
companies.
you have consistent, very inconsistent,
And then up and coming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just love that because we can compare three different companies side by side and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Very, very different sides of the spectrum for sure.
Correct.
So jumping into mine, mine ranges from like around 6 to 9, but it just kind of bounces around, which pretty much means it's consistent. There's
Yeah.
no, it's a safe investment.
Not taking
From-
too much risk.
No,
not
it's
getting-
very safe.
you
It's
get
not
this.
going to just die off, but it's not going to shoot to the stars.
And that's
either,
what,
so-
yeah, that's what Nike is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just very safe, and I mean, it's just top dog.
Yeah.
Top dog. That's that. I mean, that's what we said these last three episodes. They are top dog.
Yes.
So, analyst views and ratings. Does anybody want to start us off?
I can. So, you know, what is left to be said about Under Armour now? You know, it seems all we're talking about is just, you know, them going downhill potentially. Not saying they're going down once again, but the future is just unknown, which I think they're still going to be fine. So, what some analyst views are saying and some ratings, it says that they keep underperforming overall throughout the years, which we can tell by the graphs we've done in previous videos, all that, the income, what we stated a little bit today. But the one thing that analysts are saying, which could help Under Armour right now, is the buy rating is at 8. So it's showing some signs of belief because the company or athletic wear companies usually is around 6.5, so they're 1.5 below. So it is showing a little bit of belief for Under Armour.
Okay.
Now whether it's gonna make it, we don't know, but analysts do have some beliefs in the
Where do
company.
you, where do
in
you
the
think it's going to go in the future, Drake?
I mean, we're gonna touch when the opportunities come up here in the next.
Okay.
I do have some good things to point out here.
Okay.
I'm going to start next.
Go ahead.
I'll give you an optimistic kind of analyst view and then also a cautious kind of view. So the optimism about Nike right now is they hit a low point, but it looks like they're going to bounce back. They fixed their inventory problems. They got new leadership back in place, and they're going to go back to what was working very well. The cautious view now, though, is they have extremely great competition now with Lululemon and a lot of younger brands. So, I mean, I don't really know where they're going to go. I think they will go up because it's Nike, but they do have a lot of competition now. As
You
can
guys
see with
definitely have.
Lululemon.
You guys are also so like heavily invested in new things in the future.
Oh yeah.
which,
Oh yeah. I feel like they've prepared perfectly
Yeah.
for this. They're a big enough company to know how to stay at the top.
Exactly.
So for Lululemon, I actually did a little more research into this, and I went to stockanalysis.com, and I read that 24 analysts cover Lululemon, and they had a consensus rating of holding. They're thinking the company is stable enough to hold, and they're projecting an average target price of around $228, $225, which is about a 40% increase. This is generally really optimistic and really good. Obviously, there's other analysts saying not to be as optimistic, to not hold. I mean, it's a lot of here and there, but that also comes from how bad the market is at the current moment. The market is very volatile. You don't know what to expect with this AI bubble. The market's very uncertain.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. With all the AI coming up, do you guys think this helps your company or hurts it?
I think since they're athletic wear and it's a physical thing
Yeah.
that they're wearing, I think it's gonna help them.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because
I
they can,
agree, yeah.
they can use it to benefit them to expand their brand.
And with it being in sports too, you know, it can help track like data as well.
Exactly,
and, like,
exactly.
for human health.
In my sports management class, we actually touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of AI and how data comes into play.
Yeah.
And I mean, AI is taking over the game
Yeah.
right now.
No,
And I am sure these guys, maybe Under Armour, if Under Armour
Nike
might
for
not
sure.
catch the wave, but
Yeah.
like,
Nike
they need
for
to
sure.
change
and no,
it.
and especially Lululemon.
Yeah.
Lululemon up and coming, they kind of know how to get to the
Yeah.
top of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this AI stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
But this is not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
We're gonna go ahead and
sorry.
move on to
So do you
risk
guys
and
have-
opportunities.
What do you guys want to start or?
Do you want to go
Yeah,
ahead
you
and
wanna
first?
How about you guys start us out?
Or I can start with
Yeah.
Under Armour. So, like I just said previously, it is going to be very hard to turn this company around.
I do have a question. Are we going to talk about our risks first and then segue to opportunities?
Yeah, I can start with risk. Yeah,
Okay,
so some
okay,
risks
perfect,
are,
perfect.
You know, once again, it's going to be hard for them to get new income to come in. You know, just because it's just going down. It's going to be very hard to turn a company back into its original form, like it once was. Another risk is the number of sales in North America have decreased heavily throughout the years. Now they are trying to get out there a little bit, but it's not enough because the number of sales they're losing in America is just.
You can tell me if
going
I'm
down.
wrong, but I feel like South America is big on Lululemon right now.
I think no. They
They've
are starting. They're
always
starting
been
to
big on
expand.
Nike,
I actually
but-
want to touch on that. I'm gonna a little spoiler. South America. I mean, Lululemon is starting to expand to the Middle East,
Yeah.
China,
Okay.
all those
I'm
countries.
not
I actually do want to.
surprised by that.
I'm gonna touch on that in a little
We'll
bit.
come back to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who is next?
Yeah.
Were you-
I'll go
okay,
next.
go
I'll
ahead.
go next. So the biggest risk with ours is obviously the emerging brands. I feel like we have a lot more competition than we used to. And the some of the strengths, I mean, I touched in on already. We had to change in leadership, that we're going back to things that worked in the past. Just focusing on running basketball and football shoes instead of trying to go designer, because it
Do
really
you
wasn't
know if
working that well.
soccer falls anywhere under that? Because I feel like soccer is a
It's not near as near as big as basketball and football.
really.
Yeah,
that's
it's not near
really
as big.
surprising. Okay.
Basketball is the biggest one in that category.
Wow,
So
okay.
they're going back to that, which I believe is smart, and
Mhm.
hopefully, and we'll touch on this later. You're going to bring
Yeah.
it up, but we'll argue about that. But
So opportunities.
No, wait. I didn't go to risk. I didn't go to
Okay,
risk.
okay.
So I mean, mine's pretty straightforward. I'm only gonna be touching on tariffs and intense competition, which is like, I mean, every brand right now is
Yeah.
facing the same thing. But when it comes to tariffs, I feel like Lululemon is a little more involved in that because their imports are from Vietnam. So the tariffs might affect them a little more than others, and it could squeeze margins. And going to the competition, Lululemon is an up and coming brand, so they have to compete with those other up and coming
They got-
athletic wear brands.
it's harder for them because they have to change minds that are stuck
Exactly.
up with the old brands.
And
So,
I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Right now, like I love athletic wear. I love wearing athletic clothing, and like there is just so many brands right now to choose from. I mean, to name a few: Aloe, Skims, Vuori, Lulu.
Yeah.
There is just so many. On Cloud. It's very exciting to see how Lulu is going to compete with these brands and come out ahead, because I do believe they are going to come out ahead.
Yeah.
So now we can move on to
Yes,
opportunities.
you guys. So I think one thing that really would help Under Armour and their opportunities with the recent news, which we'll touch on later, is I think that one thing they need to do is seek potentially an NIL deals. So I mean, it's huge right now in college, especially. I think if they could go out there and get an
I mean,
athlete-
that's a great
I just
idea.
don't think they're going after anyone
Yeah,
right now. And that, I mean, Nike's grabbing these kids when they're freshmen in
or you get the
college.
little like the
But
Reeboks.
don't you think
like,
Under Armour should go in heavier, maybe offer them more money?
Yeah.
If they get a big athlete, let's say they get a
Exactly.
I think
good
that-
Jeremiah Smith,
I think that will turn around their
they
company.
could definitely, it could
I
definitely.
think
turn
maybe
around.
And
not
what
fully,
do
but
you
it will
think?
help.
Do you think that's their plan, or
I don't think like you have never really heard of someone being sponsored by Under Armour like in the
I agree.
NIL deal. But I mean, you never know. I think they do need to go into that business and start.
Okay.
You got
Do
any?
you wanna move on, or do you want me to take over?
I think we can move on.
No, like opportunities.
Oh,
I'll do Lululemon's opportunities. So international expansion is huge for Lululemon right now. As mentioned before, Lululemon is up and coming. They're gonna cause a little wave in the market. So as mentioned in the first episode, 75% of Lululemon's revenue comes from the U.S. market. They are recently planning to expand to different markets. They're already in China. I'm gonna touch on this in a little bit, but they're also planning on opening a store in India very soon. So that's very exciting. They're also Lululemon started as a women's line, but expanding into men's wear has also helped them expand.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick. India, they're big on designer clothes, so I feel like that'd be a very good. If they can expand into India,
100%.
Ginormous.
I mean, and what? India has 2 billion people?
and they're
Oh,
all
yeah,
one very wealthy.
That is a
Some of them.
lot
Yeah.
of people. So that is and I
Would
mean
be
not
huge for the
only
company.
I didn't want to touch into this now, but Lululemon's planning on opening a physical store in India.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna touch on this in recent news, but that's their plans, and that's very
And that
exciting
could
for them.
also spread across Asia, I think, as well.
Exactly, because India's so
It
big.
could maybe hit China as well, and it just grows.
If you get in the Middle East too,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yes.
huge. Yeah.
Opportunities for Nike. I mean,
I covered it a
really
little
opportunities
bit.
can you expect from them?
I mean, they were talking about the World Cup a lot. That
Okay.
having all these people come in could be a big, major global event for them
Mhm.
and expand
See,
even more than they already.
I want to
are.
go back to that because I feel like Nike is already very heavily involved in soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how much more could they do in the World Cup? Knowing they're Nike, I mean, I'm thinking maybe more than 50% of the teams playing the World Cup are sponsored by
Yeah.
Nike.
Probably, but they always aim higher. So
They
probably-
do. They really
probably
do. You
want
don't
all
know
the
what to
pies.
expect. I
Yeah,
agree.
if
I
half the
agree.
pie, they probably want all the pies. So
I agree.
They can see
That's a
what
good
they
way to
want.
put
Yeah.
it.
So recent
Recent
news.
news.
I think
Yeah,
I'll,
we'll definitely start with Drake.
I
on
have to
this
start
one.
with here. So by the our last video, Stephen Curry, who was definitely the biggest
Oh,
star
man.
for Under Armour,
No.
they have decided to part ways after 13 years, which really hurts their company because
Listen,
he
I want to
was.
tell you something. I don't expect Under Armour to make a comeback after that.
Yeah.
That was their biggest athlete.
That was their
was
biggest
their
athlete.
biggest
Far the
athlete.
biggest athlete.
That was their biggest athlete by far.
Do you know when they parted ways?
I think it was about a week ago. It was almost right after our last podcast, if I believe right, after the news. But yeah, so I mean, that is huge for the Under Armour company because of who Steph Curry is. He's arguably one of the greatest players in the NBA, and to have him, leave their company is huge. You never know where he
I
could go
mean,
next.
I will say though, it is kind of getting towards the end of his career.
But yes.
So
yeah.
if he was, let's say he was 23, just getting started, this would
Yeah.
be ginormous. But
Yeah.
he is slowing down a bit.
But I think
not
every-
Guys, but
that
how about
much,
Michael Jordan with Nike?
But I mean,
You were talking. I mean, it
Yeah.
is Michael Jordan, but I feel like you can make the same
his
argument.
brand is still growing
Yeah.
too. That's what's crazy with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But I don't think there'll ever be a Michael Jordan. But that is like you lost your Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
We lost our Michael Jordan for the Under Armour company
Yeah.
for sure. And another thing is, I think the news of Steph Curry parting ways, I think that this could hurt the stock, as not really the stock, but like the company and the income as well, because I think this is really going to hurt their shoe brand. So they're already predicting that the shoe sales and everything else to go down because of everything else. They do still sell some Currys, but obviously once
This
they're
doesn't.
out,
This
they're
doesn't
out.
look good. This
Yeah.
doesn't look
No,
good
not
for
good
Under
at all.
Armour.
No.
Their future is very shaky for the company.
It
Wow.
is very shaky.
Can we take over?
Go ahead.
So first thing, I already cut on. They're resetting their strategy. They're going back. Two more things I want to touch on. They're cutting costs to save billions, which does mean they're going to lay off people, but it doesn't mean they're going to save a lot of money.
Yeah.
But as well as Nike's trying to win back younger customers, which means they're going to increase tech and fresher designs, because people have said that Lululemon and these younger brands have way nicer and cooler designs, which is attracting younger
Yeah.
customers. So that's pretty much it for me.
So with Lulu, this is a little exciting. So recently, well, actually over the summer, Lulu sued Costco. They're suing Costco because they're accusing them of selling lower priced clothing that copies their designs.
Huh.
This is fun. This is interesting. I don't know any further updates, but it's ongoing.
You think
And then-
you think it'll go through?
I mean, Costco. I feel like Costco gets away with a lot of stuff.
That is
I
true.
go to Costco and like, you just see a lot of things you wouldn't expect to see at a what would you call it? At a grocery store. Because
Yeah.
that's what I think of Costco. a
It
grocery
shouldn't
store.
work, but it does.
It
I agree.
does. It really does. The other thing, I mean, I was gonna talk about tariffs, how
Yeah.
it's gonna affect them in the future. That was touched on before, and I mean to wrap it up, I also touched on this a little bit, but they're expanding to India. They made a partnership with Tata CLIQ.
What is that?
It's a company in India.
Oh,
A company in India. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it. Yeah, yeah.
Investors or
I'm assuming, yeah, it's their
Yeah.
investors. And they're planning on opening their first physical store there. Unfortunately, they made me talk about it a little earlier. I wanted to make it a surprise at the end, but it wasn't meant to happen. But I mean, I guess that wraps up our
I think the
Wow.
big surprise is obviously Curry.
Yeah.
that was
Runner.
huge.
That was-
Yeah.
I would want to
And it
talk
was
about
crazy
it for
timing.
hours.
It was crazy timing during our podcast.
I mean, I'm really excited it didn't
Yeah.
happen to that because
Yeah.
now we can talk
During
about
this
it.
time, that's pretty.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm glad it
So,
worked out that way.
do you think Under Armour's gonna make it?
No.
In the future, with all these brands like Daniel mentioned earlier, maybe they have a couple years left, but I can't accurately predict if they're going to go up or down.
How many years would you say?
just
Staying afloat
depends.
before they declare. I mean, what
I
do you
mean,
do when a company is not making money? They declare bankruptcy,
No.
right?
Yeah,
How would it
I
work?
think they'll last like 10, 15 more
That's
years.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was
If
thinking
I-
around 10 years
Yeah.
before it
If they
goes.
definitely don't touch into this NIL stuff, which I think they should do, because I think that will actually help them a lot. Probably about 15, 20 years, I'd say. I mean, you never know. Obviously, with the world, things change. The market changes very frequently, but you just can never predict it.
I agree.
No.
I agree 100%.
Well, that's it. That was episode 3 of Fit for Finance with the
Triple
Triple
D's.
D's.
Yeah, might have been